definitely opens the door for many pools of blood. Maybe, maybe not, but we'll find out here shortly. But let's start off with this IMDb plot. Renfield, Dracula's henchman and inmate at a lunatic asylum for decades, longs for a life away from the Count, his various demands, and all the bloodshed that comes with them. Alright, that tells you not too much about this movie, but I'll fill you in on that here shortly. But this is a fairly new movie. I know probably a little behind with this review, so there's probably some of you that have already seen this. Obviously, a Nick Cage movie, and I'll try to keep this fairly spoiler free since it's new, regardless. But yeah, Nick Cage, and as I continuously say, he doesn't seem to say no to movies. I would like a list of movies he says no to, because it seems like he does anything and everything. But I don't blame him for taking the role of Dracula. I mean, regardless of how it's played in this movie, it is Dracula, and you can say playing Dracula is pretty cool. So why not? But yeah, he's done some movies that I've recently that I've liked, some that I haven't. Horror, sci-fi, all that kind of stuff. So a mixed bag. So we'll kind of see where this one lands here in the end of this review. But while he is in it, and obviously the big name here, he's not, the main person here. The main person here is Renfield, and the story kind of follows him as, he's kind of Dracula's slave. He's there to help and serve and all that kind of stuff. Kind of like if you've seen this show, what We Do in the Shadows or something like that. That's on FX. The House of Vampires, and then they have, I forgot what he's called, and it's off the top of my head. But there's a name for what he is, and he's there to, help mostly the one vampire, but, the other ones are there, and he helps out with them sometimes too. There's a name for it, it escapes me right now. But you guys know what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's Renfield here. And, it's set in today's world. So, like many people have done who might kind of struggle with issues, he finds some support. He goes to a support group, and that sets up for a little bit. This is a mixed bag here. You are gonna get some blood and guts, which we'll get to, and a lot of the story, and there's some comedy in here, and that's a little bit of comedy in that kind of setting. When it should be a serious moment, there is some comedy to it as well. But he's going to kind of go to a support group, kind of look for help in ways to, indirectly say what he's doing. Nobody really knows what he's doing and his issues, but, he's talking about basically, having a boss that he doesn't want to work for or has a hard time dealing with, and that's kind of why he's in the support group, and just looking for help overall. But and that's kind of part of it as he's struggling. He's kind of done this for a while, and he has no escape from it, and so forth, and that's kind of how his character is, or where his character is at this time. And then he's out, he's on the search of blood. I'm not going to go into every detail, but Dracula, obviously we know, needs blood, and Renfield's out trying to collect bodies for him and so forth. And then he kind of falls into a situation he shouldn't have, and kind of falls in with a local, we'll call them a gang, and so forth, or a mob, or whatever you want to say. And, they own a lot of people in the city. They kind of run this city, regardless of Dracula and Renfield and what they're up to. And that's going to kind of play a role in it. He's going to be kind of fall on the bad side of these mobsters, what we'll call them. And he's also going to find someone of interest, a woman cop who he's going to get kind of interested in. Who's also going to make an impression on him, and also kind of give him reason to also change. So there's a lot of kind of on Renfield's plate here. Serving Dracula, finding someone he might have an interest in, and then also dealing with his struggles because he is serving Dracula, and then stumbling upon this mob that kind of runs the city, and it's all going to get kind of mushed together in a story here, and Dracula will make an appearance. Nick Cage is not just off to the side doing nothing. We will see him. He will play an impact in this movie. But if you're looking to see a lot of Nick Cage, I'm not going to say that it's a lot. Again, it is Renfield and I believe it was Nicolas Hoult that plays him. And I will say he does an excellent job. He's really entertaining in this movie. He does a really, really good job. So I think, while more people know Nick Cage and may want to be there to see him and obviously play Dracula, the movie really follows Renfield more, and that is the title here, so why not? And so there's not a lot on Nicholas's shoulder, and that is Nicolas Hoult, that is, to kind of carry the film and be the face of it to a large part, and I think he does a really good job. In all the aspects that his character has to do. Being funny and then handling the action, and I don't know how many of the stunts he does, but there are a lot of stunts and fights and so forth. I don't know how much he really did, but whatever, still does a pretty good job regardless. And so a lot on Renfield's plate to deal with, and obviously, I guess the biggest part here is this mob is going to be a thorn in his side and continue to come at him because of his involvement early on in certain things. Not going to go into every detail to spoil it for you guys, and plus some of you have already seen it. But yeah, and he also has powers. He gets Dracula-like strength and so forth by eating bugs. So it's funny how he kind of carries a little thing of bugs to kind of eat if he needs, superpowers for whatever reason, or Dracula powers, whatever you want to call it. So that was kind of interesting, a little side piece there, because he's not really a vampire, but he has kind of those powers, and we'll find later on that others can also have that kind of power too. So it kind of escalates things towards the back half of this movie. I kind of, when I saw people tweeting about it and so forth, that a lot of people said it was a lot bloodier than they thought, or there was a lot more action in this movie than they thought, and I will agree with that. Again, Dracula's in it, so there are bloods to be spilled, as I said at the top. But yeah, it's all over this film. Every time there's a major action scene, there's body parts coming off, and lots of fighting, and just a lot of pain to be had, and so forth. And like I said, as it escalates through the entire movie, and definitely towards the end, it just continues. So that I always enjoy that. So from a pools of blood standpoint, I really enjoyed that in this movie, and was pleasantly surprised by all that. But let me just take a real quick here. It is rated R, so there you go. It is. They didn't gyp us on the blood and guts in this movie. They definitely brought it. There's a scene in a bar that's really wild. Lots of people get killed, and a crazy scene there. And then again, like I said, at the end it gets kind of interesting with how things go. I don't want to spoil the ending. Like I said, and if you've obviously seen the commercials, you know that Dracula makes an appearance and so forth. I don't want to spoil too much of what happens at the end. But yeah, things will be resolved. Renfield is going to have some choices to make. Whose side is he on? What does he want for his life going forward, and that kind of thing. And you'll just kind of have to see how that goes. They give you kind of a hint at the beginning. You might not take it seriously, but then you see it at the end, and you're like, oh, okay, so it is gonna happen that way. But yeah, I'm gonna say that I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought. like I said, Nick Cage's stuff has been, off and on for me. Maybe I like this one more because it was more straightforward than some of the other weird stuff he did. Eh, he does okay in the movie, and like I said, is not, a huge rating on him because it is about Renfield. There's a point, where we kind of see Dracula at a very weak point, and that was kind of interesting. And then obviously see him look more like Nick Cage Dracula towards the end. So that was kind of an interesting transformation. But I thought overall the movie's very entertaining. Like I said, the Renfield character is really good. Nick Cage, like I said, he didn't have to do much as Dracula because the movie's not totally, centered on him. He's obviously an important part, but not centered on him. So he does it well for Dracula and so forth. And you kind of see it. You see it. I mean, look at him. If he was really Dracula, would anybody doubt it? But yeah, I thought it was fun. It's not too serious, but there are plenty of blood and guts, and a fun time, from beginning to end. And it's not a serious dark horror movie, dark story of telling of Dracula and so forth. So it was it was a good time, and last I don't know, for several years now. I obviously haven't gone to the theater in a while, but even leading up to before lots of us stopped going to the theater and such. I kind of got adapted more to liking film festival movies and movies that I got to see screeners and so forth, and when I'm doing my top movies of the year, not really sticking to these big movies that have hit theaters and are more widely known, and kind of made my list of other movies and film festival movies and stuff that didn't necessarily hit theaters. But I have to say, with several of the movies, even though I didn't see them in theaters, but some of the bigger movies so far this year that have hit theaters, I kind of like them, and I would say that many of them are, if I had to put a top 5 together right now, would probably be filled with more, with plenty of these names instead of some of the other ones. This one probably included The Evil Dead, Becky that just hit, movies that I really enjoyed, and all of them hit theaters, so or more bigger budgeted than some of the other films. All movies that I enjoyed, and if I had to make a top 5 right now or a top 10, they would definitely be in the mix. Again, I'm not sure, if a movie has stood out. I think, this is not our top 10 rating. This is a Renfield review, but, I think in many people's eyes, there's probably one at the top of the list very easily for those who've seen it. But some other, I don't know, some other movies just haven't hit me the way some of the previous years' movies have. And maybe that kind of started last year, but we are where we are right now, and we still have plenty of the year to go, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm surprisingly, I think I'm going to give this 4 pools of blood. Just it was a fun watch. There's not too much to complain about. It had the blood and guts that I liked. A lot more than I expected. Like I said, I was hinted at the possibility of that, and it happened, and I enjoyed it. I thought the acting was great. From Nicolas Hoult, and even the girl here who plays Rebecca. I'm not going to butcher her name, but that was the cop girl that he becomes his sort of love interest or whatever. She does a terrific job in this movie. She's a great character, so great acting, great characters combination there. And Nick Cage does his thing as Dracula. He has a couple of good lines in there, and you just see him as Dracula. He's just that way. So lots of good in this movie as well. So if you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. 4 pools of blood out of 5. So with that, horrorsquarereviews.blogspot.com is where everything begins. Written and video reviews are there. Obviously, haven't done as many written reviews lately. Lots of video reviews. So if you're only interested in the video reviews, like, subscribe, and all that kind of good stuff that everybody wants you to do. If not, not a problem. Twitter, Facebook information down below. Follow, like there as well. If not, again, no problem. Feel free to reach out to me, talk horror, you want me to review something and so forth. Feel free to do so there or in the comment section down below. If you've seen this movie, do you also agree that Nick Cage could be Dracula even if he wasn't in this movie? I don't know. And whatever else your thoughts are on the movie. So with that, I will catch you on the next review, horror fans.